Birthright citizenship is something that President Trump wants to end because he feels illegal aliens take advantage of it. But is it something he can really do? Let's check out a couple of videos and I'll give my opinion.
Conversation around birthright citizenship is so intriguing to me because I've studied this historically, I've taught this in government classes, and its intended purpose was to protect African Americans and the children, the babies of African Americans from the status of slavery. And now we're talking about it because of non-citizens, because of illegal immigrants, because of undocumented immigrants. Since the court case that happened yesterday with Trump v. Casa, I feel like this conversation is really heating up. It is needed. This conversation is so needed. We truly need the Supreme Court to decide who this was truly intended for. 14th Amendment's original intent was to protect formerly enslaved African Americans, to protect their children, granting them citizenship. And today we see the context of the 14th Amendment being stretched way beyond its initial context. Seen under the Biden administration, they failed miserably at protecting our borders, allowing illegal immigration to persist, crossing ports of entry, overstaying their visas. And we see that some of these illegal immigrants are having children. And in a lot of cases, these illegal immigrants who are having children in the United States are able to benefit off of government assistance. Obviously, we see that the 14th Amendment is being exploited because there's this collision of illegal activity reaping the benefits from our Constitution that was meant to protect us. And this is what we're going to see the Supreme Court decide in months to come. Does the 14th Amendment guarantee legal citizenship to children of parents with illegal status? And let's not pretend that this conversation is foreign, because globally, most of the world either one, does not grant citizenship automatically to children born of undocumented parents, or two, they may grant citizenship depending on the legality of the parent within the country. There is a precedent court case that the United States Supreme Court usually goes by, but we are long overdue. This court case happened in 1898. Basically, this court case said all children born on U.S. soil, regardless of parental status, has U.S. citizenship. But here's the catch. Won Kim Ark's parents were legal residents of the United States. They were not undocumented. So obviously in 2025, we are dealing with a completely different reality, and it's time for us to put America first and change the incentive.
Well, I'm going to say this. She made some valid points, but the 14th Amendment clearly states that any person born or naturalized in the United States is a U.S. citizen. The only way that President Trump can do anything to get rid of an amendment, guess what he has to do? He has to go through Congress. And not only just go through Congress, it can't just be a simple majority and stuff like that. He has to go to the Senate, where it has to be a supermajority. And then it has to be ratified. It has to be an amendment to take care or change another amendment. So all this stuff about going to the courts and stuff like that, it's clearly what it says. It's called something that I realized that I learned when I was in about 4th grade. What is it called? Checks and balances. You don't want the executive branch to feel like they're king. Just because Trump says something about birthright citizenship, because he scratched his left ball and he feels that, oh, well, these are Legos and stuff like that, that doesn't mean that it's a problem. The problem we have is what he should have focused on. Crime. That's it. That's it. The majority of people who come here illegally or legally, they are not committing crime. But because he wants to showcase something and show his base that he's tough on crime and he's tough on these people, he's doing this and having ICE and having Uncle Tom Homan do this so that you won't look at that big crappy bill that they're trying to push through in the Senate. Anytime when you see that they're trying to focus on one thing, they're pulling a Houdini. Look at my left hand. Look at my left hand, while the right hand is just screwing you over. I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, my American brothers and sisters, understand what's going on. Now, I agree with some of the things that she said, that people take advantage of it. That's going to be everything. This is America. We're one of the richest countries in the world. And we are one of the most inviting countries of the world, because she's right. There are other countries where they say that, oh, you don't get birthright citizenship. But I don't give a dang about those other countries. I care about America. And I know that, hey, we made an amendment, the 14th Amendment, that clearly states that any person born or naturalized in America is an American citizen. Simple as that. But let's get to another video that talks about it. And guys, I appreciate, before I get to the video, I appreciate each and every one of you for liking the video, making comments, and subscribing. You guys push me over 1,000 subscribers. I really, really love you for it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get to the next video.
Now, the fundamental right to birthright citizenship stems from a case a San Francisco man brought before the Supreme Court back in 1898. Well, this morning, that man's great-grandson speaking about today's decision from the Supreme Court. NBC Bay Area's Bob Riddell joining us live from Chinatown in San Francisco. And Bob, I would imagine this case is still very personal to the great-grandson.
Correct. We're talking about Norman Wong. Good morning to you there, Marcus, who says this is a sad day for his country, and this morning's ruling goes against what his great-grandfather fought for 127 years ago. In the building behind me here in Chinatown, Wong spoke at a press conference this morning. It was organized in advance by the Chinese for Affirmative Action organization. They organized this in anticipation of today's unfavorable ruling for birthright citizenship. Wong's great-grandfather, Wong Kim Ark, was born here in San Francisco to parents who were Chinese citizens. When Wong Kim Ark was refused entry into the United States on a trip back from China, this was under the Chinese Exclusion Act, he took his case all the way to the Supreme Court and won, which enshrined birthright citizenship as a fundamental right in this country. What would your great-grandfather say? What do you think he would be thinking about today's ruling?
I think he would be defiant. I would think he wouldn't stand for it. He would know what's wrong, because look, I would have never been born if he didn't assert his rights.
True. President Trump says people who use birthright citizenship are trying to scam their way into the country. Your response to that?
Nobody scams their way into the country and brings their family and raise their kids and try to be upright, doing hard jobs actually, and
he's right.
If you're really that much of a crook, you wouldn't bring your family, your wives, your mother, your grandfather, or whatever.
I agree with him. There are some people who want to scam, but would they bring their whole family and stuff like that? Come on. A lot of times people are just looking for an opportunity to make a better life. And a lot of times they wouldn't really want to leave their country if their country had economic opportunities. I'll give you a quick example. So my mother's Jamaican and my father's Trinidadian. And when I went to Jamaica, the poverty I seen there was just unbelievable. And I said to myself, why does this country have so much tourism, but it's so much poverty? And when I asked about what's the minimum wage, at the time, the minimum wage there in Jamaica was the equivalent of $2 an hour. Now it's less in some countries, but that's, my motherland. So to know that, it pained me. And I said, wow, that's just crazy. But people just don't decide to just pick up and leave. There's a reason why. And most times, probably 90% of the time, it's economic reasons. But let's continue here. What you have to say?
You'll leave them home. So, no, I don't buy that.
David Chu, who is San Francisco city attorney and a birthright citizen himself, he also spoke at this morning's press conference. He thinks it's telling that the Trump administration did not ask the Supreme Court to rule on the actual merits of this case. He points out that San Francisco was the first city to sue the Trump administration over birthright citizenship, vows to continue that legal fight, says this story is as San Francisco as they come, wants to make sure that Wong Kim Ark's fight for justice wasn't in vain. He calls today's ruling by the Supreme Court an attack on newborns and future generations and patently un-American. Reporting live here in San Francisco.
Well, Is it un-American? I would say yes, because when it comes down to it, we all have ancestors that come from somewhere else. All right. Maybe people who are descendants of Native Americans, first people here in America, maybe not. But the majority of people here are descendants from people who came from somewhere else. And the one thing I appreciate about America is that we change things and we kind of try to sort or try to make things that we felt were wrong, but in the past, we try to make it right. And the thing about birthright citizenship is that just because someone comes here and they have the baby here, they are an American. That's under the 14th Amendment. And we have to acknowledge that and respect that. I guess you have people who will try to come here and be slick about it and stuff, but when it comes down to it, we have to really put ourselves in their shoes for a little bit and say, wow, why did they want to do that? What was the reason? What were they thinking? And how can we make or help their country become better so that they wouldn't want to think about that? They would want to make their country better or want to stay and make their country better. But I feel that we as Americans, we are very fortunate. I, for one, I always say I'm very fortunate to have been born in this country. I'm very fortunate to be a citizen of this country. And if there was a World War III and I had to fight, and they called my number, I will do what I have to do. But we all have to understand that we as Americans, we're fortunate, and we have to be able to give that hand and say, hey, my good brothers and sisters, you can come here legally, of course, but if you came illegally, maybe you should have to pay a fine and show that you are willing to do what needs to be done to become an American citizen. I feel that the country can make way more money if they just do that. Say, hey, listen, you came illegally, we searched you out, you gave us your correct name, and you are able to just pay this fine, because it is a misdemeanor, especially if it's their first offense. You pay the fine and you do what needs to be done to get your green card and become a U.S. citizen. You go that route, I think it'll be much better than just locking people up and sending them into detention centers where it's not being run by the federal government. It's actually being run by private institutions. So you got to ask yourself, all these people that's being rounded up, are they rounding them up because they really care about the American people, or are they rounding them up because they're trying to make a lot of money? That's a food for thought. But my brothers and sisters, thank you so much for watching this video, especially watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please like the video, make some comments, and subscribe to this channel. All that good stuff will help me as I continue to grow on this YouTube platform. And I'm thankful that I'm growing with your help. Thank you so much for watching. I love each and every one of you. Be safe out there. Peace.